Morning, everybody.
Hi there.
Hey, Carmen, I saw you had a couple listings in Davie there. Good job.
Thank you. They're in my community, Ron. Remember, I told you I was working really hard to try to make that happen. So it's happening. Thank you.
You got those expireds or FISBOs?
So the one I mentioned to you before, one of them was an expired and he had two properties that I have listed. I have one under contract. I just got under contract just the last couple days. And the other one was a neighbor right down the street. That was a big one. That was over $1 million. And then another one that because of the other listings, I had an open house and then I got that listing through the open house. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you, Ron.
Congratulations, girlfriend.
Thanks, Alexa.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I guess my classes helped you, huh?
You had great classes.
100%, Ron. Your classes are awesome. Yeah, they were really awesome.
Shared things that I thought were over and above. Yeah, you did some really nice programs. Thank
That's
you.
cool. I'm glad.
Yes, absolutely.
That you guys are doing good.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good
And-
morning.
Morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, guys. Morning, David.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Ron Piccolo,
Hey, Bobby.
are you still taking out of area agents as part of your classes?
No, my classes were discontinued, I guess, because of
Okay,
they have the other programs with the
okay,
yeah.
thanks anyway.
Robert, can you hear me? Bobby Golden. Can anybody hear me? I lost my mic.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're good.
Congrats, David. How you doing, Big Papa?
Thank you so much, man. I'm good. I'm good. Just trying to learn life without sleep, you know? 1 to 3 hours a day is like a dream right now. It's a blessing. She's perfect.
Hi, everyone. I just want to take your opinion about homes.com. Anyone has used home.com?
Yes,
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think? That's
I am canceling as soon as my year is up.
I already canceled.
I don't think it's worth it at all.
I have not heard good reviews that it's worth it.
No, I have two friends who also did it and they allowed them to cancel, but they did not allow me to cancel. So I've basically gotten nothing out of it and it cost me too much. So there you go. I wouldn't do it.
I mean,
anyway.
if you have a profile on homes.com, you'll still get leads on your listings,
Correct.
so you don't have to pay.
They just won't always stay right with you. You know, once they go in there and click on it and it goes into your CRM there, it won't go anywhere else. It'll always stay with you, but it has not been worth it. And it's kind of like other ones that dump in, you know, they give a fake email or phone number, or it's a bot of some kind, you know, it's just not worth it at all.
Anyway,
Are
I
there-
did sign for
opinion.
6 months. But
Huh?
you know, I did sign for 6 months. So we'll see, you know.
Well, I hope it works for you.
Let's hope you're let's hope you're the exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Well, let's get on with the show here.
Hi,
So
Rob.
this week I wanted. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good to see you, Alexa.
I don't know where you are.
So I am mobile in the,
You're in Ireland. Okay.
but no, I'm in Jersey, not Ireland. I'm driving.
you're
I'm a passenger. So
Oh,
today,
I'm
New
your
Jersey,
neighbor
yes.
today. We're in New York today.
Hey, Terry.
Okay. Welcome, Miss
Thank
Terry.
you, darling. Bumper to bumper traffic. Heck, but
All right. Hey, guys,
All
before
right.
Rob gets started, let's all remember if you're not speaking to mute your mics, please, so that Rob
Yes.
doesn't have to do it as a passenger.
Yes, I'm going to mute everybody and then just unmute yourself when you want to talk. And when you're done, if you could be polite and just put yourself back on mute. So I'm going to start out with the 8 core reasons why, and I don't want to use the term fail, but I will use the word sound check now. Ron, can you hear me?
Check, check. Hear you.
Ron?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
All right. So we might have another moment or two of that, but eight reasons why we fail to have the business that we dreamed of having. Okay, not that we fail in the business, but in the business that we dream to have is one where we help people, we get paid abundantly well, and we enjoy what we do. Right? Is there anything more to the business that anybody wants? And maybe even have a little bit more time to yourself. But these things are all possible when you run a successful business. And why do people fail? It's because they have a lack of prospecting discipline. And I don't care how long you've been in the business, if you don't have time blocked and you don't have a discipline of prospecting, and prospecting is different for everybody, but if you don't do it, you're going to wind in these ebbs and flows in the business that stress everybody out. Um, who's been in the business more than 20 or 30 years and doesn't do much prospecting now because the business comes to them? Anybody?
Been in business longer, but still prospecting at least 4 or 5 days a week.
Okay. And with 20 to 30 years in the business, Ron, what type of prospecting do you do?
We're calling a lot on Red X. That is expireds, FISBOs. Now that there's more properties on the market, FISBOs are lightening up a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to get appointments.
Okay. And for those of you who've been in the business less than 10 or 20 years, take it from a veteran that if you stop prospecting, you're probably going to go into early retirement, right? Or depression. So lack of prospecting discipline is the number one reason agents avoid what they don't like to do. And this is probably the thing that's the most challenging to people is putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby, you have a comment? Bobby Golden?
Rob, I'm sorry. Yes, I piggybacking on Ron, I'm canvassing more probably than I've done in a long, long time. The business was coming to me pretty regularly. And like we've said before, these other mastermind success breeds bad habits. So I developed a lot of bad habits, which I'm correcting slow but sure.
And Bobby, I'm gonna put a little spin on that. It's good markets create bad habits, not success. Okay. Let me put this back up here. So the oxymoron to the conversation is, or uh, what seems not to be true is having good time management really gives you more freedom. And I know in my early on in my career, I felt like having to block time to do things was impacting my ability to be free and do whatever I wanted to do. But having time management is what really gives you true freedom in the business because you know you're getting things done. Are you guys able to hear me now? I hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Without a structured daily schedule, we lose momentum and we miss opportunities. Without a consistent, structured daily schedule, everybody loses momentum. Okay. Whether it's if you're writing a book and you don't do it consistently, you're going to lose momentum. If you're trying to get fit, you stop going to the gym, you lose momentum. In real estate, if you stop doing what made you successful, or if you stop doing what you know needs to be done to make you successful, you lose momentum. Okay. Number 3 is failure to follow a proven system. Okay. Many agents work using unproven, unestablished scripts and try to get a PhD in winging it. Okay, we see a lot of the younger agents, they reject they reject traditional education in the business, and they say, oh, let me just try to do it on my own. I just came from a office meeting where a gentleman shared with me that he had lost out on 4 straight listings. Okay, I'm going to help him, and it's not bad luck. Okay, it's bad process. Okay, if you don't follow, if you don't adopt, embrace, and follow, 100% of the time a proven system, you're putting your business on that ups and down, all those things that don't be. Because when your income is unstable and unsecure, does that create stress for anybody? If your income is not predictable, do you get more stressed out?
Very.
How about you? Yep, you do. It's just human nature, right? And when you're stressed out, do you think that you're the best version of yourself, Beth?
Not at all. I have to keep a list and stay focused and do prospecting regularly. And if I miss that, if I don't follow up on that, it takes me, I get in a funk, and then it takes me a few days to really kind of get back into feeling good about what I'm doing, even if the next day I follow that to a
Oh.
T. It just takes a while, and you do take a dip.
Yep. So, and this is not, let's take a look at like professional athletes when they're the best of the best. Those athletes are taking more free throws. They're doing more practice to stay on top. Okay, so if you're doing well and you get complacent, you'll find yourself getting humbled very quickly or frustrated. And I was talking in a meeting earlier. It's about a decade ago. I talked to an agent that had a company for 50 years, and she had an agent that was in his 70s, and he was completely wrong on something. And I'm like, Ruth, Tom's like out of line with this. She's like, yeah, Rob, Tommy's a good boy. You know what his problem was? I'm like, no, Ruth, what was Tom's problem? He's been in the business 41 years with me, but unfortunately he's repeated the first year 41 times. And I'll never forget that conversation because it has impact. So if you have 10 years of experience, but you've repeated year 1 10 times, then you're going to be in this, continual cycle of frustration. So following systems that are proven will get you out of that funk, that inconsistency, that euphoria of having a great month, and that followed by the depression of having 2 deals fall apart, and you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills. Okay? Proven systems avoid that. Number 4 is low accountability. Okay? And I'm going to say for accountability, it's performance tracking first, accountability partner second, coaching third, and fourth is probably continual learning. Okay. We have some people on these calls that are amazing at what they do, phenomenal, but yet they still show up here because they realize that sometimes, like Bobby Golden confessed to, like we get complacent, and what got us to success last year might not take us next year. Okay. So we need to have that accountability to ourselves. Even if you don't have a team, you need to measure what you're doing and make sure that what you're doing is working. So if Bobby goes and starts doing, expired calls, and he does that 2 hours a day, but he only gets 6 listings a year, you might want to pivot and do something else that's more lucrative. Okay, so you need to track and measure. And I know tracking and keeping, a sheet or a spreadsheet on what you're doing it's not the funnest thing, and a lot of times we want to wing it, but I think it's really necessary, especially if you're spending money on. I heard you talking about homes.com earlier, right? You want to be able to measure and see if these things are really working for you. Number 5, and this is probably something that frustrates the public the most: inconsistent lead follow-up. Okay. And no public confessions here. But if you're not appropriate with your lead follow-up for whatever reason you have, we need to revisit that. Because I've seen all of us have had somebody that we thought we had in the bag when they were ready to transact, and then they went with somebody else. All right. If that's happened to you, raise your hand. Right? You thought you've had this client in the bag. You know, they said they were moving. You kind of were a little bit overconfident. You didn't follow up appropriately, and somebody stole your business. And on a more favorable note, we've probably been the recipient of that where, you know, they said they were working with somebody, but we wound up winning them over because we did a great job at following up. So inconsistent lead follow-up is a tremendous headwind to consistent success and costs us significantly in our business. Number 6 is weak presentation skills. Weak presentation skills. If we go through, we study the market. We are the best candidate for the business, but yet we might lose an opportunity to take a listing or to work with a buyer. And it's not because we're not talented to get the job done. It's because we haven't been able to perfect the communication skills to earn that business. And I'm going to lean into, you know, Bobby Golden, who is Bobby, were you number 1 in Woodbridge again last year? Or you're not sure?
I don't believe I was, but I'm up there.
You're close.
Yeah.
So, you know, having excellent presentation skills, communication skills, will give you the ability to win business when you're not known. Okay. It's great to get repeat business. It's great to have people say, hey, I've seen your signs everywhere. But this one here, number 6, Bobby, gives you the ability to go into a market where you're not a own producer and be able to compete and stand and challenge everybody to put themselves in that uncomfortable position and figure out how do you win business to a skills, your communication skills. Agents who fail to confidently communicate value lead to lost listings and lost transactions. And where are presentation skills critical?
In front of the client.
In front of the client. Yeah, who's that? Is that Miguel?
Me, Ezekiel.
Oh, Ezekiel. Okay, so Ezekiel, it's critical in front of the client. Where else is it critical?
On the phone.
On the phone to earn the client. I think one of the secret skills is being able to communicate, get the offer accepted, right?
I'd say everywhere. Being able to talk to other agents, talking to title companies, talking to lenders.
But John Q or Susie Q Public, they don't know that their offer is not dependent upon Jason's communication skills, do they, Jason?
They don't until I sit in front of them and explain my value to them and show them what I'm capable of and show them that how I'm going to be able to work for them.
I mean, I think, you know, absent that skill that you develop, Jason, the public is going to say, oh, well, you know, Susie Seller got my offer for $650 with 30% down and they didn't accept it. You know, I guess they got a better offer. Well, I would say the person who presents the offer is a significant influence on whether that offer gets accepted.
I agree.
I wanted to
Right?
just, I wanted to give an example. I'm doing a deal right now with Hector Vidari. It's the first time I've worked with him. He's really amazing. He told me a story exactly like that. He's in a very competitive market, and he's, he does a lot of high-end deals, but he will also do, lower end $200,000 deals. And he said consistently he gets his offers accepted, even, by the way he communicates with the other agents. And he had an agent say to him, you know what? Your offer was not the highest, but I am confident with you. I feel like you're going to get this deal done. I know it's going to close. We're going to accept your offer. And it wasn't just one time that happened. He told me, and but he told me that that happens with him a lot, all the time, is people accept his offer. So it was kind of an inspiring chat with him.
So who has an example that you can give where, or something that is always working for you when you present an offer and want to share it with the group? 'Cause I'm
I'll
going to
give you
share
one.
mine after we get one or two.
I'll
Go
give you
ahead.
one, Rob. Very simple. I think Glenn Baker brought it up last week of how he does all of his on video. I call every agent. I actually tell them the situation. I have an actual I don't send it over text. I don't send it over email. I actually call it. I've had people who called me in a multiple offer situation and said, you're the only person that called me to explain my offer. And, even, knowing, hey, this is a veteran, this is their situation, the basics of it, just so that they're confident with somebody on the other side of the table. So that's always worked for me.
I have one. This is Ezekiel Fortley. I make sure that my contracts are complete and there's nothing missing, because that's what I expect from a buyer's agent making an offer on my listing. If I see that listing is half passed, excuse my language, I could tell how the deal's gonna go. And sometimes they'll tell me, "Oh, just let the attorneys fix that," and I tell them absolutely not, because I'm not gonna trust an attorney that doesn't even want to do this. That's upset that we're making more money than they are on this deal, to fix your problem and your incompleteness. So I make sure that when I submit an offer, it's complete down to every single line is filled out and everything's there. I think it makes a difference. For me, it makes a difference when I get an offer.
So Ezekiel, I want to share with you a story, and the group is in 2020, the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I had an agent in our Westfield office came to me all panicked because they put in no contingency, cash sale, close in 30 days. They have the ability to do financing if they wanted to, and everything was backed up. COVID, whatever. They weren't going to be able to close in 30 days. So like, Rob, I can't call the listing agent. It's not going to happen. I just can't physically, like the appraiser came late. They want to use financing. We said it was cash. And I call the agent and I'm saying, hey, I'm here with Mary Beth, and I just wanted to talk to you about, 11, Main Street. And her first response was, I'm so glad that you called. Do you think that we could push the closing back 2 to 3 weeks? My sellers aren't prepared to move out yet. Okay, because sometimes we assume, oh, we'll do a quick closing, no mortgage contingency, whatever. And that wasn't what the seller wanted.
You're
So
right.
experienced agents find ways to have that conversation, say, hey, Jason, my client, or Ezekiel, my client could close in as quick as 30 days. Does that ideal for your seller? What works for your client, right? And, I just want to passionately get that across to you that, sometimes we get ourselves tied up in what we think they want, and, it costs us business. Okay.
I think people do that all the time, personally and in business. They have this story. They don't know the whole story in their heads. They finish the story, but it's not necessarily what's really going on. the recent one I had actually fell apart, and the communication made it to where she said, you know, I feel so sorry for the buyer. It's been so good working with you. I hope you're able to, I hope we're able to work again, to work together again. And the buyer lost his job. So it wasn't anything anybody did. It was completely out of the blue, but they were just cutting back on staff. They lost a contract, but literally the agent said, I hope we get to work again, even though this deal fell apart. So even if it ends in a negative, you can keep that communication open, learn, you know, continue to talk verbally with people, and email and text messaging just doesn't do it.
Right. And I don't know if anybody from the Baker team is on. Is anybody from the Baker team on? Morris agent? Do we have anybody? So the Morris agent team has at least one agent, if not several, that do a lot of VA business. And if you're familiar with the VA business, what's the down payment on most of those?
Zero.
Zero. And how is a seller gonna feel about a zero down payment transaction when they have others? Probably not great, right? Let me just mute
Well,
everybody
in our
else.
market, it's irrelevant. Most sellers are like they're gonna get the money from somewhere because we have so many VA just because the military bases. But I know where you're going. So
Yeah, over 80% of mine is VA. And
So I'm sorry, I just muted everybody because there was background. So I guess if you're in a VA area, Jason, it might be a little bit different, but here in, you know, most parts of New Jersey and Florida, like uh, the non-VA part of Florida, um, it's pretty much looked down upon and say, hey, I got somebody putting down 40% and you're doing a zero down payment. Well, you know, uh, Tim on Glenn's team probably has like a 95% acceptance rate on VA. And it's not because they see that offer and they say, ooh, yay, or it's not because the pre-approval is written any better than anything else. It's because of the dialogue and the narrative that he has with listing agents. And it will go something like this. I don't know, Jason, can you unmute yourself for a quick second?
sure.
He'll talk about, hey, you know, my client served in the military. I'm proud to work with them. I just want to, you know, this lender I worked with for a long time. We've closed every single deal. I've done $10 million worth of VA business this year. Do you think there's any reason why your seller might not accept our offer? Right, and have that conversation. And I know in my heart that these listing agents are repeating him said to the listing agent to their sellers. Okay, and I've seen Carlos Turner, who's a military person, you know, have conversations with other agents. And I saw a brand new agent do their first deal with a client. They were ex-military. Both of them were in law enforcement. During the heart of COVID, they couldn't get anything accepted. I told her to go down, drive to the office when the agent was on floor time and give them a printed copy of the offer. Like, but Rob, everything's electronic. I'm like, you've lost out on 6 or 7 offers. Your client's going to renew their lease. Just do it. So they drove down there 40 minutes from Westfield to Old Bridge, brought the paper in there, had a conversation, got the next deal accepted. Do you think that would have happened if you emailed it and had a phone call?
No.
Probably not, right? It makes a difference. Okay. And I had one, and if you've been attending these masterminds, I apologize for repeating myself, but it bears repeating because of the significance. We have in our on our staff in Westfield, Ricardo Medina, who's now a happy homeowner. Did a loan through Frank at Motto. Everything was great. And when he was looking to buy, it was, I don't know, beginning of 21 or end of 20, like the peak of the market. And he was looking to buy a 2-family in Essex County or Passaic County. Competition was unreal. This is exactly how that conversation went. I told Ricardo, you know, go to open houses. When you find something, let me try to present it. And if we can't get it accepted, you know, I guess you have to do what you have to do and rent. And I don't know if it was, I think it was five, I think it was approved for 575 or 475, whatever it was. And he wanted to offer the full amount. And he's like, I just want a house, you know, it's on the market for 450. Let's offer 475 or whatever he was approved for. I'm like, all right, Ricardo, let's just do it at 450. Let me call the person, see what we could do. And when the person answered the phone, I just said, hey, just want to thank you. And he was, thank you for what? For answering the phone. And I can tell you, we left that conversation almost like we knew each other for 10 years. And, you know, I authentically said, hey, I have an offer, may not be the best offer. It's 450 or 550, whatever it was. But what I'll tell you is that if you do accept it, that I'll reciprocate. I'll answer every phone call, and we're not going to nitpick you on inspections. You know, I'm committed to getting the transaction done. I hope you can relay that to your client, and maybe we can put a deal together. He accepted it without even countering. Ricardo would have went $35,000 higher. True story. And that's the power of communication. The power of presenting, and it's not just presenting to your buyer or your seller. Okay, it's presenting to the appraiser. It's presenting to the listing agent. It's countering an offer to a buyer's agent, right? You know, we had an agent that they listed the house auction style. They got offers of 10,000 more. They wanted to have 25,000 more. They did highest and best. So like my client, we had the highest and best. My client wants to take the house off the market because they're not satisfied with the price they got. So what would you do if you had 5 offers, highest and best, you know, I don't know, 45, other wanted to get over 500? Anybody?
You broke up a little bit, so I didn't hear the middle part. If you had five on,
So we had an agent. They put the property on the market at 475, and they said based upon the comps and the market, I'd expect you to get over 500. They got 5 offers. The highest was 490. The seller is like, you know what? I'm just not motivated to move at the 490. I think I want to take it off the market. So who wants to play manager and tell me what you would do?
You can always counter. Choose to counter on a multiple.
Who's that?
Nicole.
Oh, Nicole. Okay, great. So, yes. So you counter, and the way that you counter also matters, right? So
Yes.
I role played, and I'm like, look, Nicole, thank you so much for your offer. I got some great news. You're one of the highest offers, and my client is countering back at you at 505. Can you please get back to me by tomorrow to let me know if that works? Right? And that first call was like great. And she called the 4 others, and one person yelled at her and said, you can't counter when you have highest and best. I've been in the business for 40 years.
I've heard that.
Blah, 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 blah,
I've
blah,
heard
right?
it, but she absolutely can.
you can do anything
Yeah.
you want.
You can do anything the seller wants.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes. So the agent was like, Rob, I got my ass chewed out. I'm like, yeah, but you got 2 people, but you got 2 people that accepted the 505 offer, right?
Right.
So we just took the best of those 2 offers. So that was all communication skills. You know, when I went back and did the first call, I went back and I'm like, Jason, great news. You're one of the best offers, and my client is countering you at 505. And 4 of the 5 didn't say, you can't do that. You had highest and best. They're like, oh, great. That's good news. Let me get back to my client, see if we can make this work. Communication skills, folks. Number 7, reasons why we fail to have the career we want in real estate is we have fear of rejection. Okay. Emotional resistance to having rejection can get in our head, and that can limit our ability to grow and have the abundant career that we desire to have. And in the meeting I was at just before this mastermind, you know, it was refreshing. I'm saying, like, who feels better when you're winning, right? And when you're helping people, like all those emotions just inspire us, right? And when you win and you do this, you're going to have rejection in the process. It's inevitable. And if you're not getting rejection, you're not putting yourself out there enough, and you have to learn how to deal with it. Okay. And rejection could even be that one jerk saying, I've been in the business 40 years. I've never had anybody counter or highest and best. That's ridiculous. And it might even been a little bit more aggressive than that. So fear of rejection can't motivate and can't change our true north. Okay. And number 8 is another one of my favorites, is lack of commitment to personal development. Okay. Nobody knows it all. You know, the best of the best are always looking at ways to try to improve their game, whether it's an athlete or a professional, right? The best neurosurgeon is always looking into the latest technology to try to help save more lives. Okay. Athletes are trying to figure out a way that they can, improve their batting average by 2 or 3 points, or their percentage of, shots from the field. And if we're not trying to fill our brain and improve on personal development, we're going to start to lose. Anybody ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett? Anybody?
Yeah. I don't know how
Also-
many books he reads every year, but it's insane.
So, Warren Buffett says the only way to have a sustainable business is to grow and develop faster than your competition. Because if you're not doing that, you could be number one market, but your competition will pass you, right? I mean, if you're driving 55 on the highway and somebody's driving 57 and you have a 10-mile head start, do the math. Eventually, you're going to get overtaken, right? Because somebody else is growing and developing faster than we are. Okay. So sometimes success gets us to be complacent. And, that's a spot that is destined to put us into frustration. Because if you're number one in your local market, nobody likes to give that up. The only way that you stay there is by sharpening the saw and by keep reinvesting in the one investment that nobody can mess with, which is your own skills, your skill set, your mindset, right? So success isn't about reinventing the wheel. So success isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about mastering the fundamentals and executing consistently. Success isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about mastering the fundamentals and executing consistently. Agents should benchmark their habits and recalibrate their approach to align with the highest performing standards. It's a lot of words, but it's all true. Anybody have any thoughts or comments on that? Anybody that's meeting their goals want to tell us what you're doing?
Rob, this is Ezekiel Fortley. As you know, I recently joined Coaching McFerry,
Yep.
and it's really given me a whole another outlook and a complete boost of, what I could do and what I should be doing. So now it's all in your mind. It's all mindset, really. I mean, it's nothing really else than that. I mean, your mind turns off and it turns on, based on what experiences you're having. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling maybe complacent, like you mentioned before, you don't feel like doing anything. You're like, oh, I have, I had a nice closing last month. Let me just, chill out. That's a bad place to be. So you start not focusing, So when I joined, coaching, it completely changed my outlook day one. Just yesterday, I was at my house in Bloomfield, and I was pulling out of the driveway, and I see a very friendly neighbor all the time. So I was pulling out, then I stopped the car. He said, let me go talk to him. So I went and had a conversation with him. I gave him a couple business cards, and we were talking on his porch for about 15 minutes about real estate. And he's a super nice guy. And I told him, listen, and anything you need, let me know. Real estate, this, you know, you need have a friend that needs help with selling their house. So now I kind of make a point that everywhere I go, I'm having a real estate conversation, and it really changes things, you know. So I'm excited that I did that. This I think I'm like 2 weeks in, and it's completely changed my outlook.
You're not going to be a secret agent, right? You're going to have those conversations.
Exactly.
And you can do them without being
Pushy.
obnoxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
obnoxious. Yep. And Ezekiel, thank you for sharing that. And I would just encourage like like staying relevant and learning new things to me is exciting because it's like I want to I want to implement what I learn and up my game so I can help people more. And if you know that your true north is just you want to help people do the right thing, then this really becomes easy game and easy conversation. Not one that you take for granted, but it becomes a lot easier. Um, and I think I saw Tony Rosigliano. Are you on? All right.
Yes,
Um,
I'm here.
so now I'm going to assume I helped make your day, but you really made my day when you got the listing for the property with the mold and the like the semi-abandoned property, right? And then you got under
Yes.
contract and hopefully it's still going in the good direction, right?
Yes, it's great. In fact, I'm going over there right now.
Right. But you know, for that, honestly, like when I check in on you, you might think I'm doing it for you, but it feels good when when what I do has helped you, right? That
Yes, you have. You helped me immensely. Absolutely.
and you know, it works for us all, right? Your client's happy, you know, I'm happy that you know, I had the right approach that we discussed, and I'm happy that
Yes.
you won that business.
Thank
So
you.
when you trade that way, it makes learning fun, it makes helping fun, and then at the end of the day, you get paid. What could be better?
Nothing. It was great. And you keep on learning because that's not something I did. I've done my comps a certain way. I never really did the spreadsheets as you have. I've never learned that approach. So you have to keep learning every day, every single day. And I really appreciate it because it's really worked for me. So thank you again. And yes, it's going
Oh,
strong. We'll be closing on the 26th with this one.
well, you know, I'm satisfied the fact that it worked. So you made you literally made my day. And when you call and ask for me for help, anybody, it's not like you're burdening me. Like, you know, you'll never feel like I'm bothered by it. And I'm always like, I want to have an impact and I want to
hmm
win and I want to win.
That's great. That's how
And
I felt.
that's fun. Like you know, people play sports to win. They don't play
hmm
sports to get paid, most of us. So you
Right.
go, you do things and hey, that was great. I won, you know. And for me, I enjoy helping everybody. And, you know, by helping you, I learned and I can help the next person. And maybe you might even pass it along to somebody else, Tony. You see somebody else
Absolutely.
struggling. Hey, Tony, what do you do about this? You'll be like,
hmm
I know exactly what to do. Here's what I learned.
Exactly. I've spoken with people about it already. So you do pay it forward. It's
Yep.
good.
So thank you for showing up for these and congratulations on your sale.
Thank
So
you.
so here's some
Thank you so
strategic.
much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Here's some strategic initiatives. Okay, we're now in it's the end of the year coming up, right? We're in the final. It'll be the fourth quarter soon, but it really feels like the fourth quarter. And what we do now is going to impact our 2026. Okay. This is a month. This is a time to recover. Hopefully, we all had some good summer memories, vacations, whatever. And let's get back to the grindstone. Let's get back into the success habits that are going to give us more of those endorphins of being successful, right? More like the emotion of winning that transaction and closing business and feeling more confident is more than just a commission check. I can assure that to you. Let's treat today like it's January and we're So happy New Year, everybody. Let's get the fourth quarter going. Let's track our daily activities and put an emphasis on prospecting, and let's watch our pipeline. Let's forecast what our business is going to look like. Okay, because inconsistent business creates stress, and for most of us, stress does not put us in the most resourceful space. Okay. Time blocking for income producing activities and knowing what your outcome is for the time that you're spending. And, we're all salespeople. Okay. We need to work like salespeople, and we also need to realize what the return on our time is when we do certain activities. So if you're doing FISBOs, if you're doing door knocking, whatever it is, I encourage you to measure and to understand what your hourly rate is. And Ezekiel, going through coaching, if I was to offer you a job to drive down to Westfield and make $700 an hour, how many hours a day would you want to work?
Every day.
Would you want to work 4 hours, or would you want to work 10?
I'll work 10.
Okay. So if you measure your prospecting time, Ezekiel, you're probably making $700 or more prospecting, and you'll discover that the fulfillment and the things that make you feel good about like solving problems, that's not where the money's made. The money's made in the business generation. Okay. And I use that example because if you were to study what your results are from prospecting, you'll know exactly what every hour is worth to you. And then that will become non-negotiable time. Okay. And I beg all of you to look at what your hourly return is on the activities that you're doing, and to reinvest more time into the things that are going to put you where you want to be. Does that make sense? Mindset reset, a mindset reset. Okay. It's a psychological time to recommit. Let go of the summer doldrums, right? Because like I just got back from 3 weeks of traveling, and it was great. I did minimal work just to make sure that I didn't come back to a big mess. And now I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go. I'm locked and loaded. My mind isn't where it needs to be. I beg all of you to try to get your mind in that space where you can perform for the next 4 months and be ready for the reset in 2026. And everybody's sending me the bold predictions by Brian Buffini. Everybody's trying to figure out where interest rate's going to go. Is the unit sales going to be up or down next year? Listen to me. I don't care. I really don't care. What's going to drive what happens to you is the activities that you do. Okay. Many of us I was looking at, we get a report from corporate, it's called the Pulse Report. In New Jersey, more than half of our people are up over income this year. More than half. 20% are up more than 50% in their gross commission income. Those people don't care about what's going on in the market. They're blazing their own trail. Okay. The market does not control your income. It never does. Right. I mean, Mr. Durso, you're able to talk. I mean, you led a big ship before at a competitor.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
did you go to the owner of that company and say, oh boy, Jim, no vacation this year because the market's going to be down? I don't think you did.
Never, never.
Right. So
Habits
you
you change before you could change. You buzz through it.
yeah. So all of that, I mean, the prediction's great. You want to know what's going on. Don't get me wrong, but don't stake your income and your career on what you predict the future to be, because you can have an abundant market, but if you're not prepared and you're not mentally prepared, you're not going to participate in it. And if the market's challenging, people need you more than ever, right? They need your skills. So, back in 1990, when I started out as a mortgage lender, interest rates just went below 10%. I was doing refinances. People thought that when the refinances dried up, I'd be out of business. They clearly underestimated my commitment to success. And I continue to grow my volume, my business every single year because I was 1 year wiser, right? And every year we're in this business, we're 1 year wiser, and you now have the whole Remax network. You have the select family that you can lean into. And if you see somebody that's saying something on these calls that you're like intrigued by, pick up the phone, call them, ask them about it. You'll probably make their day. I know somebody went to Glenn Baker and said, "Hey, can you do training for our office?" A competitor of ours in the Remax system. And Glenn is actually doing that and is like, "Rob, that's pretty cool. Somebody told one of my competitors that this was a great thing that I did and they want to learn about it." So that literally made his day. And all these great minds that are on here, if you have a question, call them up and it'll probably make their day. Zeke, if somebody calls you up and asks you, "Hey, I'm inspired by what you're doing," are you gonna be like, "I don't have time," or you're gonna take 15 minutes and tell them what you're doing and feel good about it?
I always tell people what I'm doing.
All right, that's the magic.
Hey, Rob, so I wanted to mention something if you got a minute. When in terms of communication skills, um, there's a house here in town that friends of mine owned, and this goes back 10 years maybe, asked me to list it for them. They had done a tremendous renovation on the house, and I sat down with the owners and spent 2 hours and had them tell me everything that they did. I mean, and they took the house down to the studs. And then I wrote it all up and learned it and was present at every showing and every open house and spoke to the buyers, regardless of whether they came with another agent or not. And I was able to answer every question that they had. And the family who bought the house, when he got transferred maybe 3 years later, he had me list the house for him as opposed to his agent who had brought him to the house. And then the people who bought the house from him had me list the house when they moved again. So communicating is essential, the ability to do it and to have the knowledge of what you're talking about is really the key to success.
Yeah, I mean, and Robert, one of the things that's amazing to me is in this business, like very little emphasis is put on to actually the product that we sell, right? Like, I like to go to like home shows and see like the latest technology that's coming out so that, if I were showing somebody a house or doing something that I'm at least well versed in it, right? But most people in the industry, probably not on this call, but a lot of people in the industry don't really even know the product that they sell. Never mind, take the initiative, Robert, to go and learn what they did and how they upgraded the product, right?
Right.
So anyway, I think that's all the things that we can use to emphasize and identify how we can add some more value to the whole process. So if your income is not dependent upon what the market does, what the interest rates do, what the stock market, real estate market does, raise your hand and you're going to do what you're going to do to help as many people as you can, and you'll be rewarded abundantly for it. It's the truth. So any challenges that anybody's having? Anything you want to success stories you want to share with the group to inspire us on the eve of the weekend?
I have a question. I was in one-to-one coaching before, and I really want to see, first of all, if you would recommend coaching. That was number 3 on your list out of 4 for accountability. It seems like the cost of coaching, if it's just, really focused on accountability, that's something I can probably do for free. Curious to know how valuable you think that is. And I know some people on this call are coaching.
So, is anybody a paid coach on here, or did it ever coach before for a coaching company?
That'd be me.
Okay. Okay. Who's that?
That's you, Kenya. Hi. Yes. So a
Okay.
passion of mine and a past role has been a coach, but I think we're all coaches. All managers can be also coaches if that's where they aspire to help people transform their businesses. So here's the thing. I got into real estate as a second career. I've been doing it 15 years now. And it took me 3 years to replace my income. And that was my goal, to replace my income. And it didn't happen until I got a coach. You can know everything to do. For me, there's something about showing up and having to be accountable for the things you do. It's really difficult to have accountability that doesn't let you down. So what I mean by that is I started off with a peer coach. So we were doing, but I can't make it and you can't make it. And then it all kind of fell apart. My business completely transformed. And I think I hit New Jersey, silver level or whatever in my 3rd year. Because I had a coach and I was paying my money. And I've also done free coaching for a company. It does not have the same impact. Not to say that if you're not driven that you can't take advantage of it, but when you are putting your money out and expecting a result, it makes a difference as opposed to just availing yourself. And there's so much information. And if you can do it, you can do it with all the resources that are here, but taking that next step can transform your business. That's what I would say about coaching.
So, you know what, overwhelmingly, the number one thing that clients of coaching services ask for?
Probably accountability.
Absolutely accountability. So you can hire a personal trainer and have to go to the gym and meet the personal trainer at a specific time, and they'll give you some finer points to get the outcome that you want quicker. Or you could have a peer that you meet at the gym every day at a certain time to hold each other accountable. So that's the parallel that we have here. So I would say, first step is find an accountability partner, okay? And don't let them get away with it, because that's avoiding the whole purpose of an accountability partner. Okay, I know we have a young man, Joe Garcia, who does FSBO and expired calls every day. And before he gets on the phone, he's on with 3 or 4 other people on a Zoom call where they do a little bit of role playing and keep each other accountable. And when they're done, they report their results daily. There's no fee. You can have an accountability partner and you can have a common interest. And it feels good to win together and to pull them up when they're down and have them pull you up when you're down. Right? The hired coach, Kenya, that you're talking about, I think it's a sense of commitment that you don't want to get on that call and tell somebody that you're paying that you didn't do what you're supposed to do, right?
I also think it matters what you're trying to do in your business. Like I was trying to double my business, so I think, and paid coaching, you can come in and out of. Maybe you need it for a time and then you use your accountability to keep you on the straight and narrow. You can also join an accountability group where it's sort of a group effort and then you have pair off. So there's a lot of different scenarios but I would use all the resources here first, and then depending on what your goals are, yeah, you can go further if you need to.
And I'm not discouraging anybody from getting coaching, and I'm not endorsing it. Like, all the coaches have merits, right? I think that I've learned from all the different coaches in the business. They all have different perspectives. Many of them are valid. Probably all of them are valid, but it's about a matter of what you do with them. And if you're feeling like you need coaching, maybe get an accountability partner first, and then see, like you had mentioned, that you need to take it to that next level. Maybe you interview and you find a coach that's going to be helping you be the best version of yourself every day.
I just
Okay.
want to throw in there,
Yeah.
Rob, the easiest person to get over on is yourself. And you have to be
Yep.
careful about that. Because you could tell yourself a lot of false things. It sounds
Yeah.
good though.
Right. And don't conflate busy with being effective. Right. I mean, you know, how many times have you had a busy day, but you really haven't done anything to improve the revenue or to help more people? But you could be busy. So,
You're
Mr.
busy not
Durso,
being busy.
yeah, and Mr. Durso, and everybody that contributed, I appreciate everybody that showed up. I appreciate it, and I can tell you authentically, if you take something from this and you have a success and you share it next week, you make my weekend. And if you have anything that you want to reach out to me directly, don't feel like you're that you're being a pest. I want to help you, and I'll probably learn something in the process. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. I hope you got at least one thing that you can take and execute on from today's session.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you, Ron.
everybody.
Have fun,
Thank
Rob.
you.
Bye-bye.